Economists often assume that markets are driven by rational agents. But have you ever wondered what if markets behaved like cats? Not rational and predictable, but easily distracted, chasing shiny things, bouncing in the wrong direction, and sometimes knocking off the demand curve completely off the charts. But in the era of generative AI, semiconductors have become that shiny toy. Global demand has surged with speed and intensity that feels less like a steady movement and more like a game of cat and mouse. So, the big question we are going to answer today is why did generative AI disrupt semiconductor demand and what can governments and firms do in response?
Before AI, semiconductor demand grew steadily with smartphones, cars, and laptops. But generative AI training requires tens of thousands of GPUs, and GPUs are built from cutting edge semiconductors. This is not just more consumption, it's a structural transformation, and we call this derived demand. Chips are valuable not for themselves, but for what they enable AI models, data centers, and applications. And thanks to network's effect, the more AI is adopted, the more demand accelerates in a feedback loop.
In the short run, the semiconductor demand is highly inelastic. There are virtually no substitutes for advanced GPUs. The factories that produce these chips are take billions of dollars and years to produce. So when the demand increases, the prices skyrocket. In the long run, though, the elasticity increases. This is because firms innovate, governments subsidize new factories, and alternative chip designs emerge. This contrast between short-run rigidity and long-run flexibility explains why AI hardware is quite expensive today but may become affordable over time.
But there's more. Semiconductors are not just an economic good, they are strategic resources. Taiwan's TSMC fabricates most advanced chips. ASML in the Netherlands builds the machine that prints them. And Nvidia designs the GPUs powering AI.
This concentration creates both market power and geopolitical risk. In economics, this is called oligopoly. A few firms dominate, there are barriers to entry, and profits are extraordinary. Nvidia, for example, has captured an enormous pricing power.
Governments know this. The US CHIPS Act, European subsidies, and Chinese industrial policy all reflect strategic trade theory. When markets are too important to leave to chance, states intervene to secure advantage.
But demand shocks aren't just about markets. Kitty wonders, what else could it be now? Generative AI chips create externalities. On the positive side, they enable productivity growth, new industries, and innovation spillovers. This means the socially efficient demand for chips may actually be higher than private demand. Kitty seems happy since the society seems satisfied. But there are negatives too: enormous energy consumption, carbon emissions, and security risks from concentrated supply chains. This lowers the social equilibrium quantity. Kitty is sad since the environment is getting destroyed. These push the social efficient demand curve below the market curve. Economists call this a divergence between private and socially optimal demand. And it shows why policy action is needed. Kitty puts her economist hat on to wonder what policy action might be required.
So, what should be done? For firms, diversification of the supply chain, investment in energy efficient AI chips, and prepare for demand fluctuations by avoiding over reliance on a single product cycle. Without subsidies, firms hesitate to invest in costly fabs and chip R&Ds since the benefit often spills over to the society rather than staying with them. That's why government provides subsidies to share risk, expand capacity, and spark innovation. Though if misused, they can waste resources and fuel global subsidy races.
What comes next is uncertain. A world where innovation accelerates as chips get cheaper, or a world constrained by scarcity, supply costs, and geopolitics. And economics will tell us which future unfolds.